Hello and welcome back to the Across the Pod NFL podcast for our next team season preview. And this team is the Baltimore Ravens. I'm, as ever, your host, Andy Davis. With me, as you can see on your screens right now, with us today, returning to the show, our resident Ravens fan back for today is Shane Harris from Third and Long. Shane, how are you?
Andy, always a pleasure, my old buddy. How's things? You all right?
All good, yeah, all good. I was saying in one of the other episodes that I'm making the move to Cardiff to live there next month. So,
awesome! It's a brilliant city. I've lived there myself. It's fantastic.
Yeah, I mean, I love Cardiff. I went to uni near there as well, and obviously was born in Cardiff as well. And not far from home right now. And I love being in Cardiff and making the move there. So yeah, this will be the backdrop for a little bit longer. And then before you know, it'll be a brand new backdrop. And we had a little bit of a teaser. I did record one episode, our Dream Super Bowl episode, with that backdrop. I was staying at my girlfriend's at the time. So that will be the backdrop for at least until December. So yeah, it's all happening. But yeah, overall, just looking forward to the NFL season. Both sports I love are currently in their off season. Obviously, one a longer wait than the other to have games again. But
yes, tell me about it.
And I'm sure you are as well, of course, with the addition of Derrick Henry. Now, we'll get into the ins and outs in a bit, but Derrick Henry is the main in, really. Now, you guys, of course, made the AFC Championship game. You know, you ran the ball, I think, 18 times, and half that was with Lamar Jackson. And I think, with a running back that really failed to really be, like, elite, do you think getting Henry in, someone who's been, in my opinion, over the last 5 years, probably the best running back overall in those 5 years, do you think he is the final piece in the jigsaw if you are to go one step further this year and make a Super Bowl?
I've said it for months, and I think the last year was supposed to be our year. I think if we would have got to the Super Bowl, we would have beaten the Niners. We've beaten them once already on Christmas Day, and I think. With Zay Flower dropping that touchdown pass in the end zone, that completely changed the game. I mean, it was punched out of his hands as well. Luxuriously with a great defensive move, basically saved the game for the Chiefs because I didn't think they were that impressive in that game or all season. To be fair, they just sort of rode the coattails of Kelsey and Mahomes. But as you said, we didn't run that. We didn't use our bread and butter, Baltimore smash mouth football in that game. We didn't use the run game as much as we should have. I think with an addition of Derrick Henry, maybe the missing piece for the puzzle, but I also think it's one step forward, two steps back with the lack. With the subtractions that we've lost and the relative lack of additions in free agency to cover the losses that we made at the end of the season.
Well, let's get into his ins and outs. I mean, you re-signed the likes of Nelson Aguilar, Kyle Van Noy. You did take in the likes of Eddie Jackson, Russell Gage, Deontay Hardy. And looking at your draft picks as well, you did take Nate Wiggins out of Clemson, cornerback, 30th overall, as well as other ones include the likes of Roger Rosengarten, tackle out of Washington in the second round, and both Adisa Isaac and Devontae Walker in the third round. A lot of picks in this draft, you guys. It was 9 picks in the draft, so get quite a lot of picks. And then outs, you mentioned it there, alluded to Patrick Queen, probably the main one, Odell Beckham, Davion Clowney, J.K. Dobbins, Gus Edwards, both going to the Chargers, Devin Duvernay, Tyler Huntley, Geno Stone, Kevin Zeitler, Tyus Bowser, and Morgan Moses. So you gave a little bit of a taste then before about your thoughts on the offseason. But yeah, what are your thoughts on the offseason? Because a lot of outs, a few ins, your take on them.
It was a lot, yeah. Like I said, there was a lot of outs, with Patrick Queen going through those horrible towel twirling, whats, and since criticizing Baltimore and the city, even the food, really, really annoyed me. So he's going to be persona non grata from now on. And hopefully Trenton Simpson will step up in his position next to Roquan Smith and prove to be, a very talented player and a big asset to the team. But I mean, the fact that we lost sort of Gus Edwards, I was front seat for the Gus bus every game. I was a big Gus Edwards fan, but he lacks that He's like probably a B plus running back at best. There's not that A. Like now we have that A in Derrick Henry. He may be 30, but still, you know, he's got name value, he's got market value, and he's going to be an incredible addition. providing he stays fit. I mean, J.K. Dobbins couldn't stay fit, and I'm sorry it didn't work out for you in Baltimore. We do have Keaton Mitchell as well. When he comes back from being on the PUP list, he's going to be an incredible addition as well. OBJ, it was a fun season when he was there. I thought he was a great addition, and now he's gone to a worse team, might I add. He obviously doesn't want to. He obviously doesn't want to win a ring again. But yeah, and the fact that there was a lot of players that have been here a while, like bit part players, like Tyus Bowser's. And yeah, I mean, Geno Stone had one good season. He was incredible last season, but he's gone, and we replaced him by a stalwart from Chicago, Eddie Jackson, who's going to be a big addition to the team, I think.
Yeah, I think he had quite underrated career, if I'm honest. I don't really think he had the credit that maybe he deserves. Maybe because safety's not exactly the most talked about position in the league. I think cornerback gets all the glory in that secondary. But now, I remember actually with yourself, I remember we talked about ages ago. I told you that I didn't find the Ravens that exciting to watch.
Yes, I remember this.
Well, now you've got Henry, my favourite non-Dolphins player. I'm going to be really tuning into your games and really, I'm really looking forward to. For once, I've been a fan of the NFL 14 years. For the first time in those 14 years, I'm actually looking forward to watching a Ravens game. So that should be a fun
If you want to jump on the bandwagon, I'm sure I got a purple jersey around for you somewhere. That's no worries.
Absolutely no chance. We'll be wearing any other jersey apart from Dolphins. So the only jersey you're wearing is London Monarchs or Florida Gators. No one else.
Oh, okay.
But or maybe the South Wales Warriors if they ever sell some jerseys.
You know that's never going to happen. I mean, there's two jerseys I would wear, right? Obviously, my beloved Ravens. This is the Super Bowl winning jersey as well, and Wales away. Nice. No, I was going to say it was going to be a Raiders Gardner Minshew Mania jersey because on the pod he's a bit of a cult hero on our pod.
Well, we had Phil on earlier, and I'm not gonna. We actually recorded part one before this, but part two is coming after this podcast is released, this Ravens one. But Phil had the Raiders make the Super Bowl. He had the Niners reaching the Super Bowl. I asked him who he think they'd play from the AFC, and he told me the Raiders and Gardner Minshew. For similar reasons,
boy's a dreamer. My boy's a dreamer. That's all I can say.
My brother, who's a Raiders fan, would absolutely love that. I mean, that would be he'd be in heaven if they were to make the Super Bowl. But
he's just a big fan of Max Crosby, and so am I. And in all honesty, so are all the boys on the pod. We all think he's incredible.
Max Crosby is pretty elite, I think. Certainly,
100%.
Certainly contender for Defensive Player of the Year. I think there's no doubt about it.
Oh yeah.
Now, the AFC North is obviously your division you're in, and it's got a reputation as a hard-nosed division. And how worried are you about how good that division is? Because you can make a case for all 4 teams winning that division. When you got Joe Burrow being back fully healthy, when he's been healthy, they've reached AFC Championship games. Obviously, yourselves are current reigning AFC champions. It's like reigning number 1 seed in the AFC. You've got the Browns, who the quarterback is questionable, but their defense is really elite. And then the Steelers, if they can win 10 games with Mason Rudolph and Kenny Pickett, they can surely win more with Russell Wilson. So, in terms of that, it's a division that really cannibalizes itself every year. Teams just beat each other. How much does the AFC North worry this year in terms of making the playoffs and making it as division winners once again?
I'm not just saying this, right, because I may be a little slightly bit biased, but I think it's the best division in football. I really do. I think it's the toughest division in football. You've got four great teams with 4 great quarterbacks and 4 great defenses as well that can cause trouble on any given Sunday. I mean, I'll start with ourselves. As I said, I think we've gone 1 step forward, 2 steps back with the additions, and we haven't replaced a lot of them. So I don't know if we're going to win this year, in all honesty. The thing is, if Derrick Henry gets injured, then what? That's our big gamble. That's our big roll of the dice, and that's gone. Then you've got, as you said, the Steelers. They won 10 games with Mason the Pick Six Reindeer and Kenny Pickett as well. But now they've got Russell Wilson, and I'm a big fan of Justin Fields. I really have, as it's been documented on our pod many times. So I didn't like the fact he went there, but I think with that 1-2 punch of those 2 quarterbacks, I think they're going to cause trouble. And of course, you can't count out TJ Watt as well and that defense. Despite what kind of person he is, on the field, Deshaun Watson is incredible. Again, I'm a big fan of him as a player. And I think as long as
you reckon
Yeah, I think he's brilliant. Yeah, I think he's really good.
I think he's washed. I think he was before the Texans. He was so good to watch, but I just think he has not been good at all. I don't think since joining the Browns. I think rest is a big part of it.
It's one season, isn't it? At the end of the day, it's one full season. That's all he's had with them because he was suspended for the vast majority over the first season when he signed. But I think he's really good, and I think if they can keep Amari Cooper out of the Niners' clutches as well, because apparently there may be a trade happening soon. I think they're going to be a team to watch, and the only reason Cincinnati fell apart last year was because Joe Burrow got injured. There's been a couple of trades in the offseason, like Joe Mixon's gone, Tyler Boyd signed a contract, he's still there. So yeah, I still think that that's another team that's full of game winners, game changers. This division is more up for grabs than it has been in previous years.
Yeah, I think, if I'm honest, yeah, I said before, I think literally anyone can win that division. I really do. I think there's a genuine case. Same for the same for 3 to 4 teams in the NFC North. Or you can think, I think both North divisions are really interesting divisions, and I think AFC North particularly is probably, I'd probably say, one of the if not the hardest one to call. I mean, we're doing our season preview, our season predictions episode with Luke and Steve, our annual one, week before the season starts, and I'm finding this the hardest to predict the winner for. I've got it in my mind, but this could change next week for all I know. So, yeah.
What are you saying? Well, what are you saying? What are you saying right now? What are you thinking right now?
I kind of think it's got to be the Bengals or the Ravens. I think. You get Burrow back into the AFC North. Obviously, it's 2 out of 4 seasons been fully healthy. We know what they've done. They've made AFC Championship games. But the Ravens were the number 1 seed for a reason. I know you've lost Patrick Queen, but you gained Derrick Henry, and I think you can get by. You've got other players that can probably fit into a Harbaugh system, a defense-led system, a defensive DNA. But I don't think. So I think Derrick Henry is a massive upgrade on. He's more of an upgrade on the Ravens running back room than Queen's a miss for the Ravens defense. I think.
Yeah, I will say one thing about Patrick Queen. He wasn't as good as he was last season without Roquan Smith next to him. Roquan Smith basically changed him as a player. So yeah, Trenton Simpson's going to step into that role, and Roquan, I think, is going to be a mentor for Trenton Simpson, and we're going to see how well he sort of slots into the role. I'm excited to see that.
Yeah, I agree, and it's certainly, I'm sure from you watching or any of the Bengals fan, Roy Joe came on the podcast, whether it's the 2 Freddies that come on later on in the off season for Steelers one, or whether it's Dan, our Browns fan. I doubt they enjoy watching AFC North games because they are, obviously, for anyone who's got watching a division game with their own team, always a tense affair. But from an outside point of view, it's amazing to watch. And I think I am a big fan of defensive football. I love high-scoring games, but I also love the tight scoring, low. That's why I didn't really mind the Patriots-Rams Super Bowl, because it was low-scoring defensive shootout, and that's what you get with AFC North games. They're hard-nosed.
It was a chess match.
I mean, you get the occasional one. I went to Ravens-Bengals. I went to Steelers-Bengals a couple of years ago in Pittsburgh. That was, I believe, 37-34. That was a crazy game. Most of them are they're like 17-10 or they're 14-9. They're all just low-scoring, tight affairs. I think we will see more of the same this year. Speaking of which, actually, we will head to our final segment, which is going to be our win-loss tie section. So, of course,
it's my favourite bit.
It's the best part of the show. I love it so much. And of course, for those who aren't familiar with it by now, if you are listening for the first time to our show, each fan who comes on the podcast predicts their team's record by going through each game and answering with a win-loss tie answer. Now, of course, the Ravens last year, number 1 seed in the AFC, 13-4 record. Do you by chance remember when you came on a year ago for the Ravens 2023 season?
I remember doing it, yep.
Do you remember what your prediction was, record-wise?
No, I couldn't tell you, but I remember watching it back months later into the season, but I couldn't tell you what it was. Go on.
Well, you were one of only 3 people who came on the podcast last year who predicted a tie for that team. You predicted 11-5-1. So not too bad.
Oh, do you know why I picked the ties? I didn't want it to look so biased. If I would have went biased, I probably would have been spot on.
Yeah, you've been one off, I think, if you've gone for an extra win. But still better than some people have been so far this off season. Looking back, some of the ones we look back on have been really off the mark. So yeah, you can't fault it. So week 1, you have got the season opener. Thursday Night Football, week 1, you're taking on the Super Bowl champions, the Chiefs, who beat you in the AFC Championship game and Arrowhead on NBC, win, loss or tie.
I've actually booked the following day off so I can stay up and watch this because I really want us to get revenge for the AFC Championship game. That game hurt. The end of that game hurt me as a person, but I don't think we'll get it done. I think we're going to start off the season with a loss against the Chiefs, as much as I hate to say it.
Yeah, I mean, I know they lost last year, week 1, but yeah, I kind of agree with you there. I think they will get the win there.
I got a soft spot for the Chiefs as well, obviously, this season because of Lewis Reese. Yeah, I got a soft spot for the Chiefs this year.
Yeah, I can't wait for that. I mean, whether you'll play, I don't know. But I remember on the podcast, about 4 days before the news came out, I heard on the podcast I would kill for there to be a Welsh player in the NFL. And literally 4 days later, I'm in Tenby, phone popped up saying Reece Ahmed is leaving rugby for the NFL. And then obviously, I was thinking, if he goes to the Dolphins, I'm buying his jersey day 1. That was my plan, literally.
Yeah. I would have done the same, but I would have done the same.
Yeah. I mean, as a casual Welsh fan of rugby, I used to love back in the day, but these days only one player ever excited me, and that was him. He's the only Welsh player that got me off my feet when I watched Wales games in rugby. And if he joined my NFL team, that would have been amazing. But I think, I think we'll see a lot of NFL fans who come into the sport later on, like new NFL fans who are Welsh. They're going to chill because you've got a Welshman playing there. They play in red, like the Welsh rugby team, and Cardiff for a couple of years in football. But I'm sure Cardiff fans don't like hearing about that. But
let's not talk about that.
But overall, yeah, I think it's have a Welshman in the NFL. Even if you just had a few plays here and there, or for special teams and has a few plays, that would just be amazing to see a Welshman in the NFL. I can't wait to see them.
The thing is, I'm not educated on rugby at all. I've always been a soccer boy, a football boy, always, But it's the fact, as you said, he's Welsh. He's from the same country as we are,
Yeah.
And I hope he starts as much as he can. I hope he scores. I hope he does really well for himself.
Yeah, me too. And he's went to Hartby College, which is not far from me. My brother went there, so yeah, it's really cool to see him. Really see him do well. Week 2, we mentioned Gardner Minshew before. You're hosting the Raiders in week 2. Win, loss or tie?
We are, as I said on the show, we compare Gardner Minshew to one Hollywood Hulk Hogan. And just like Hulk Hogan at WrestleMania 18, we're going to play the Rock's role and we're going to whoop their candy ass. We're going to beat the Raiders, I think, easily.
Fair enough. I think that's a lock. I think the Raiders will scream with a 6, 7, 8 win team. I don't see them doing well at all. Week 3 is a road game at the Dallas Cowboys.
Oh, Jerry's World. The fact we done so well last year gave us a harder schedule, and with as I said, a depleted roster as well. So this is going to be hard this year. I don't think there's anybody apart from CeeDee Lamb or maybe Micah Parsons on the Dallas team that's a game changer. I think we'll be leaving Jerry's World with the W.
Okay, I was betting a loss there. I'm not going to lie.
Okay.
So week 4, and please win this game. You're at home to the Buffalo Bills.
They are the kind of team that I liken to ourselves. They like sort of they top say to use a soccer term, they are like Arsenal, someone like that. Someone who's almost there, touching the trophy and sort of miss it every year. They want those upper echelon teams. So that should be a shootout. Did you say that that the Bills are home?
You're at home, yeah. It's at M&T Bank.
Oh, okay. I think because we're home, I think we'll beat them.
Yeah, that is fair. I hope you do. Week 5 is an AFC North battle, your first of the season, away to the Cincinnati Bengals.
It depends on Joe Burrow's fitness, doesn't it? If his hand is better, even though he walks around looking like Cody Rhodes these days, I think they'll beat us. I do.
Okay, so that means you go 3-2 into your Week 6 game, once again at M&T Bank, against the Washington Commanders.
Oh God, that's going to be. We can play Josh Johnson against us. Do you know what I mean? It's all down to how Jaden Daniels starts his first couple of games as a commander. I mean, don't get me wrong, their new GM is putting together quite the team at the minute. You can see with the recent additions, with people like Montez Sweat, people like that, they're looking to put together a team. They're going, but they're not ready yet. But I think we're going to be a one-sided battering, and we're going to be swinging the hammer.
Okay. And then week 7 is a road game against Baker Mayfield and the Tampa Bay Buccaneers.
Yeah, I think we beat them. I don't think they've got anything at all that's worth shouting about. I mean, like Tristan Wirfs just signed his new deal. He's very, very good. Baker is hot and cold, No, I think we'll win.
Okay, so then week 8 is a road game at the Cleveland Browns.
Yeah, sorry, I'm doing it for dramatic effect. I think the Browns will beat us, but not by much. As much as I hate to say that as well.
So week 9 is a home game against Denver Broncos.
Oh yeah, we beat Denver, I think. And the fact, if we were away in Mile High, obviously the altitude makes a difference to anybody, to any away team. But I think they've got nothing. Are they going to start with Bo Nix? No one even knows. Are they going to start with Zach Wilson? Any team that starts with Zach Wilson, come on, are on the back foot straight away. So no, I think we'll be handing them the L.
Okay, so then week 10, you're playing the Bengals once again, but this time at home.
God, I think we'll do it this time at home. I think the crowd will make all the difference.
Well, speaking of which, in week 11, you travel to Pittsburgh to take on the Steelers.
Oh, my favourite game every year. I mean, they beat us once last year, God knows how, but it's my favourite game every year. It harkens back to a different rivalry which you would be familiar with. My beloved Manchester United against those horrible Scouse people I don't like.
Hey,
I can't swear. It's your show, not mine. So I love a rivalry game, right?
You found it right there.
I love a rivalry game, right? But I think again they've got Fields and Wilson, but after that they don't seem to have a lot. And TJ Watt, I think if you look at the game on paper, we beat them in most positions, and I think we beat them here too.
Right. Okay. So week 12 is the Harbaugh Bowl. I believe it's Monday Night Football as well. It's prime time. You're taking on the road the Los Angeles Chargers.
Right then, or as I like to call them, Ravens 2.0, because the amount of former Ravens that play for the Chargers these days is insane. Again, Justin Herbert is good, but if they're going to go with JK and Gus Edwards, we know all about them. If JK can stay fit, he'll be an addition for them. He'll be a decent addition for them. We know about Gus Edwards. He's not he's more of a short down back. He's one of the players that if you're probably 10 yards, first and goal or whatever, you give the ball to him and he'll run it in. He's not a long yards back then. And the fact that they had to get rid of a lot of their wide receivers as well in free agency to shore up the cap space. I think we'll win. I really do.
Yeah, I think this will be a transitional year. I think we obviously have Herbert and they have obviously a new head coach, and Jim Harbaugh has got a lot of good reputation, took the Niners to the Super Bowl, and I think getting Joe Alt in is a really good addition. And I think that'll be Penny Saw and the Lions. Year 1, obviously didn't win a lot of games, but then, year 2, year 3 proves why they took him. And I think that, for me personally, I think they're a team to look out for in year 3 or year 4 of the Harbaugh rebuild, but certainly not year 1.
Not yet, no.
Week 13 is your first game in December as you host the Philadelphia Eagles.
It depends what Eagles team is going to turn up. Is it going to be the Eagles team of 2 years ago that for lack of a better term, flew, right? Or is it going to be the Eagles team that turned up last year? Is it going to be the Jalen Hurts that turned up last year? They haven't really made many massive additions apart from Saquon. And again, what Saquon are you getting for the money you're spending? I think we'll win, but it will be narrow, but I think we'll win.
Okay, so that means you then go on to week 14. It's a bye week, I should say. Week 15 is a road game, I should say, against the New York Giants.
Oh, we're going to win that. Come on, the Giants are not a good team. They can do what they want. They drafted Malik Neighbors. They drafted well, but they're still rolling with Daniel Jones. I don't know why this is. I mean, if you could throw a football longer than 10 yards, I'm sure you'd have a chance of being the Giants QB. He's just not good. And I think if they keep sticking with him, I think teams are just going to go into MetLife and expect to win, and so will we.
Yeah, I think they'll be once again one of the worst teams. I think Daniel Jones is really hanging on his final legs.
And they paid him massively as well.
I know they should have paid Barkley. They should have paid Barkley. They'll regret that for years, I'm sure. Week 16 is at home to the Steelers.
Again, I do love this game. I do love this game at home against them lot. Yeah, as I said, I think we're going to do the double over them this year. I really do, and I love it. I can't wait to rub Patrick Queen's smug face in it.
Week 17 is on Christmas Day, so 4:30.
I know.
So it's 9:30 p.m. Probably the perfect time for us in the UK because you get all the family stuff out the way all day, and in the evening you can sit there 9:30 at night and watch yourself take on the road the Houston Texans. A repeat, of course, of last year's divisional round.
Yes, indeed. It certainly beats staying up to 4:45 in the morning, Christmas Day, like I did last year, to watch us absolutely hammer the Niners. Do you hear that, boys? Hammer the Niners. Yes, I'll never get sick of saying it. It's going to be awesome. I think the Texans are real danger this year, though. And not just the fact that they've drafted well. The players from last year are stepping up. CJ Stroud is absolutely incredible. Do you know what? It's going to be a tough one, but I think I'm going to have a sad face come Boxing Day. I think they'll beat us.
Okay, so that means you go into Week 18 with a 12-4 record against a team that you guys snaked so badly back in '95, the Cleveland Browns.
You guys snaked so badly.
Those ratbirds. Those pesky.
Do you know what? A quick, very, very quick sidebar. Anybody who knows me knows I'm a huge wrestling fan. Have been since I was 8 years old. There was a event in 1996 called SummerSlam, and it was in the Cleveland area. It was in the Gund Arena, which is now called something else. And one of the bad guy wrestlers came out with a Baltimore Ravens jersey on, and I was like, when I was obviously 10 or 11 years old, I didn't understand what that meant. But now, of course, being a fan that I am and knowing the history, it was mind-blowing. It was a great way to get the fans to boo that person. But yeah, with that being said, I think we win that one. I genuinely do.
Okay, so that means that you end with a 13-5 record, which you'd assume, unless it's horrendous luck, you'll make the playoffs and probably at least 2 seeds. So if you do get that 13-5 record, 13-4 record, how far are you going in the playoffs?
I love how you say that. Well, hopefully past the AFC Championship game this time. Well, again, it depends who we play in, not just the AFC Championship game, but also the other playoff games as well, because you never get there unless you're good enough to get there. A lot of teams fluke it, but sometimes there's actual powerhouses in the playoffs, the likes of your Texans now, your likes of your Chiefs, your likes of your Bills. So I think AFC Championship game minimum. Yeah, go for it.
Love it. Love the optimism. But yeah, that is where we'll end the podcast for today. So once again, huge thank you to Shane for coming on today.
Anytime. Just give me a shout. You know where I am.
Always legend, mate. Always a pleasure. But yeah, this has been the Across the Pod NFL podcast, our 2024 Baltimore Ravens season preview with myself, your host, as ever, Andy Davis, with our Ravens fan guest today, Shane Harris. And we'll see you guys for our next season preview. It should be, provided it goes ahead tomorrow, the recording, the San Francisco 49ers. We'll see you then.